welcome back to the 30 Minutes of Fame podcast. Today, I've got another amazing talent on my show that actually crossed paths with because of a video I posted of one of my previous guests, Little White Lie. Very talented rapper, also from Ontario. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's get you on my show, man. And here we are, Dawzzy from Ontario. Welcome to the 30 Minutes of Fame.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here.
First I had to listen to a few of your reels there, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This dude's great. And then I started really listening to the words. And as someone that was through the hells of PTSD for 25 years and addiction and alcohol, and that shit really hit me, man. Where'd you get started? How did you, yeah, well,
I didn't, I just started recording last year. Um, a little bit about me, in recent history I was addicted to coke and then crack, over about 4 or 5 year period. Um, and how it came to be, we can talk about a little bit, but, coming out of that, I went to, NA meetings. I got a sponsor, I got a counselor, and I needed to stop it. And I couldn't do it on my own. I was in denial, uh, for quite a while. You think, I'll stop when I'm ready, but that it just keeps getting out of hand and, doesn't end up actually going that way. So anyway, I ultimately called a self-intervention. Um, Everybody in my life, I don't think they knew. Uh, Maybe some people close to me had a hunch, but it's one of those things I didn't want them to know. So whether they knew and didn't say anything, or whether they didn't know, it's really indifferent. Coming out of this, I carried some resentment, but really, it's I didn't want them to know, and they didn't, and so everything that they went through, that was on me. But anyway, I called this self-intervention to tell people in my inner circle. So then I was working with my sponsor, who, I attribute to saving my life, um, and work in the program. And one of the steps in the step work is to take mental inventory. And my addictions counselor was saying you got a journal. And this was in 2021, so this is about 4.5 years ago. You got to write the stuff down. And that was great. That was easy for a few months. And then you go, okay, well, I'm good now. But it doesn't really work like that. It's a lifelong mission to stay out of the rhubarb, so to speak. So, um, after a few months, I thought, I don't need to write numbers. You need to keep writing. Find a way to make writing, enticing, or make yourself keep doing it. And I've always been a big rap fan. I've always turned to music, through addiction as a kid. Always leaned into music pretty heavily, but never played a musical instrument, never sang a note. Still can't really do much of either well. But, so I started, uh, writing raps because it kept my interest. And it would be anything that day. If you're struggling with yourself, you're going through the process of looking inwards. I was just writing it down and doing it, making it rhyme. And I shared it with my sponsor, and who's now one of my best friends. And he said, "Well, that's pretty empowering stuff." Being that we met through NA, he could relate, and so that kind of was like, okay, this is fun, and it seems like it's a worthwhile exercise. So I just kept going, and I did that for a year and a half, 2 years, and I thought, what, maybe if I can put this into rap or into song or into art, anybody who listens to it can get from it what I would get from other artists when I would lean into music. Um, and then I hemmed and hawed. I didn't want to do that because I'm a private person. I don't like talking about that stuff. And that's kind of where I've identified problem too, is that maybe if I talked about this shit along the way, I wouldn't be where I was. So I thought, what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And didn't really know how to go about any of it. So I just started learning, um, writing, and so I have got, lots of songs written from the time, of new recovery all the way through. And as you're coming out of it, the problems keep, they keep changing. Um, and so I'm just kind of documenting those thoughts, hoping that, when somebody hears it, they go, "Holy shit, that's exactly how I feel." And you'll notice in a couple songs, we were talking before we were recording, um, kind of makes some hair stand up because it's so vivid or so relatable to people who get it. And so when you told me that, I kind of got a little bit choked up because that's exactly, why I'm doing it. Not because, um, not because it's easy or fun, but because I wanted to reach the people that I would see as myself who could benefit from this.
You know what, man?
Um,
There was one line. I really all this. Me and my girlfriend were listening to their music last night, and it's like I said, when I first pulled up your music, I was like, okay, this guy's good. It's catchy, it's beating, and then I started listening to the words, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, I said to my girlfriend, just listen to this. This guy's like he's singing about my life, and 'cause I was a sad clown, right? Like I used to drink, do stupid shit at karaoke. I do impersonations. For some reason, I can sound like Shaggy, a big white Irish guy that can sound Jamaican. I don't know why, but and people would just say, Dave, man, get up and do the Shaggy. And I was dying. Like every time I go home at 2 o'clock when the night's over, um, it's living the lie. Oh, I can't remember the words right now. We were talking about it earlier, but that one line from one song, and people are gonna hear this, and it's gonna hit.
I lie to me so I don't have to lie to them.
Exactly. That's it there. And man, I lived that for 25 years. Like my parents are ministers. My whole family is super religious. And they had no idea because I was in Alberta, they're in Ontario. Um, but then my brother came out with me one night to a karaoke and he's just shaking his head and he's like, dude, this ain't good. There was like two or three people that could see through it. But yeah, man, it's my
It,
last guest that was on in the background. She had a guitar on the wall and it said, when words fail, music speaks. And that's this, man. That in your tunes, and I noticed one thing too. There was a video you posted with just people saying, "Why do you only sing about recovery? Like, why are all your like? Who gives a shit? If people can pound
yeah,
sand, and if 10 people watch the show and one person puts on your tunes and like goes to get help, that's all the
yeah,
freaking.
that is. And can I hop in on what you said there about, your brother would kind of see behind the mask for little brief periods. Um, that that just reigns so true. Like and you can probably relate to this. Kind of most of my life, I was always, even from a young age, I was always quiet, and my mind was just racing. I always just felt like a little bit different. Like I had friends, but it would come from like my earliest memories, amongst friends would maybe be 4 or 5 years old. And I just remember thinking, um, you know, I have to be a certain way to have these little buddies. But it didn't come naturally. Like my mind was just going, and it's like you kind of show, you can be yourself. You're a kid. You're being organically yourself, and then as you're growing, you're like, when I do that, I have a tough time making friends. And when I be a chameleon and I go this way, I have an easy time making friends. So I had real friends, but it was all from observation. Like, you look at the other kids, you go, why are those guys getting along so well? And then you would sort of chameleon into that. And you're not being you're not being fake, but you're not being genuinely yourself. But you're seeking validation. You want to fit in, and I always just felt a little bit different. And um, you don't really, when you're going, you don't know this. You don't know that you're feeling this way. You don't know why you're doing this stuff. And then you turn, get into high school or you go to college, um, and you start drinking and partying because everybody's doing it. And there's like you have a drink and you're like, this is amazing. My mind calmed down. I could, people think I'm fun, people are relatable, all the stuff that I was pretending to be to make friends. I just was now with a couple drinks in me. And I was like, this is great. And then my mind slows down too. And then that sort of escalates and escalates. And you don't even know that you don't know you, but you're just following what feels nice. And so you don't mean no harm by it. You're just following what feels good. And so then that leads into, you can lead into drugs and, you go out and you're partying with some guys and then they're shutting it down and you're like, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. And it happens, on a Friday and a Saturday. And then it starts on a Thursday. And then you're tired on Monday and it starts on a Monday. And you're not an idiot. You know you're not supposed to be doing this at this point, but you're just you're escaping and you're in your own little safe bubble when you're high or when you're inebriated one way or another. Um, and then it becomes a total dependency and you can't really get away from it. And the whole time you think you're in control because you don't want to not have control. So you tell yourself that you do. Um, and then every once in a while in my storyline, someone will pop in and check in on me. Like you said, they'd see behind the mask. They go, Dawzzy, you okay, buddy? You know, yeah, I'm good. Because you don't want them to know. Um, but everything's just what you uh what you think people want of you, what you think people will like of you, and that becomes exhausting. And the only time that you don't feel that way for me was when I was high.
People that send you a message or send you a text and say, "Hey, are you okay?" And when you say, "Hey, I'm fine, I'm all right," but when they say, "No, no, how are you really doing?" You gotta hang on to those people, man. I've got like two of them, and my best friend in the world he was a Baptist pastor in town. I met him in this little town of 3,000 people. We've been friends 5 years, and that guy I'd take a bullet for. But if I go quiet or if he doesn't hear from me within 2 days, I get a text. Are you okay? What's going on? And you
Yeah,
really got to hang on to those people. And then, I mean, I'm 50. I used to have a lot of friends, but I lost a lot of friends when I stopped drinking. People that all of a sudden don't
yeah.
want to hang out with you anymore. And it's funny because I don't know if you've got this too. I don't know how long you've been out of that, but what I found is that I'll get a phone call and they're like, "Hey, just come down, just come have one beer with us." Right? And I could hear them all smashed in the background. Like, no, today is my family day. My daughter's here. Go. And my biggest thing is waking up now on a Sunday morning for 184 weekends in a row now without a hangover.
Yeah.
And it's,
Your mind clear.
yeah. So did you find like when you got out of that scene that a lot of people just disappear?
Um, a lot of people disappeared. Some of it by design, some of it, uh, just like you said, they just kind of disappear from your circle. Um, it was I kept a lot of like the drug use. I kept it under wraps. I did it by it was my escape. So I live from the outside in live a pretty functioning life. Um, so it would be after work and I'm gonna go work late. And I was married at the time. I'd go work late and I would just use the whole time. And it was never my intention. My intention would be, yeah, I'll use a little bit, I'll do some work and but it always ended up near the end, it always ended up in the same spot. And it was me basically in tears by myself going, I can't do this again. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I gotta work again in 3 hours, trying to fall asleep. So the people that evaporated, I would say, was kind of by design. Different, your plugs or people, that were in that kind of dark corner of my life. I didn't want them around. Um, but yeah, it just got to the point where it had to stop.
Beautiful. Let's talk about your very first song that you posted online.
Yep.
How nerve-wracking was that, and what was the first reaction to it?
Um, so, so that was very nerve-wracking. Because that's my music isn't really to appeal to everybody. It was it was to help me in writing about it, and then it was to help everybody else or anybody else who takes something from it. And that one is one that if you know, you know. I know that's a kind of a cliche tag, but if you know, you know. So writing that was really vulnerable, and I had never talked to anybody about any of that outside of professional or the anonymous group. And it just kind of goes through. Um, had the shift where like nobody wants to be a wipeout. Nobody really wants to be an addict. I know I didn't. And there's a line in there where it's you go by a schoolyard and kids are talking about what they're going to be. They want to be a movie star. They want to be an athlete, a fireman. Well, for the most part, everybody who's wiped out from drugs probably started with some type of aspiration like that too. And then it was not having the tools or the ability, or maybe they came from a hostile environment or a really tough space. They ended up where they are. Nobody dreamed up ending up there. And just to go on a bit of a side note here, my childhood, I grew up in a town called Huntsville, Ontario. It's about 2.5 hours north of Toronto, out in the country in the forest, on a 100-acre lot. And I grew up in a super loving house. Both my parents worked really hard. I had no, I had no hardships. So then when I start going down this path, I start thinking, how much of a, entitled piece of shit loser am I? If I have no hardships, I have no violence, there's no domestic. There was, my parents, they could put me in sport. There's toys under the tree at Christmas. And it's like, why, what am I running from? What the fuck's wrong with me when most of the people you look around have way harder times? But I've learned that, that's it, uh, you know, everybody's sort of, it's all perspective. But anyway, so I wanted to kind of share that in the song. Like everybody starts from different places, um, and it's just really sad that you end up where you're at when you're in that situation. And then people walk by and scoff, right? Not fucking bum, fucking this, fucking that. Dude, he doesn't want to be there. Maybe he does now. Maybe that's his safe spot. But tell you when he was 4, 5, 6, 8, he didn't want to be there. And I kind of wanted to the song, the verses are basically from the addict's perspective, or sorry, um, the hooks are kind of from the addict's perspective. I want to be someone, but it hasn't gone that way. And then the verses are from the outsider looking in, kind of saying, well, you must have wanted to be this way because you keep making these choices. And it's not that simple.
I love it, man. What's it like? What's it like for you? Like we obviously had a chat before and last night, and just hearing someone say that song really hit me. Like,
It's it even earlier in the call, I started getting choked up. Um, you said it before the call. It literally brings a tear to my eye, because that was the purpose of it. Um, the only purpose. You're not making money off of this. Um, I'm not, um, I'm not getting clout or notoriety from this, nor do I want that. I just wanted to help people. So when you say that, your girlfriend says that, I got a message from a girl. Actually, you had asked about Childhood Dream. That was the first song that I released, and I was nervous to do it. And I get all discouraged and I get in my own head. And I was having a bad day with that. And I got a message from a girl from Australia. Said, hey, I was just coming back from an NA meeting, having a tough time today. Stumbled upon you on Spotify, and I started bawling my eyes out because I felt understood, and that meant more than anything to me. So to hear it again from you, same thing,
you know
means
what,
the
man,
world.
with this show, like I started this just over a year ago and I was so terrified about it. But before I started the show, I was a guest on this lady in Chicago. She's a nurse. She has a little show called Heart to Heart. And she had seen my articles on Fox and CNN and Yahoo and all this crap from when it went viral. But she's like, listen, I only get like 8 people show up to my live because she does a live show. She's like, "Are you sure you want to come on my little show?" I'm like, "There's no such thing." I'm like, if one of those people is me in 2010 when I came home from a bar after having about 16 pitchers of beer, and I was on a patio, my balcony in downtown Calgary. I was on the 14th floor. Okay, so 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm just looking down, and I said, "Would anyone even give a shit if I jumped off here?" Like nobody knew I was suffering, and I said to her, "If one of those people is that guy, and me in 2010, and they go get help or they reach out, it's worth more than if you have 10 million listeners." And then
Yeah,
after, I'm like, shit, I could probably do this, and here I am. You're my 81st episode. And
that's
the thing I
amazing.
love most is that talking to you, and I had a veteran on that's walking across Canada for PTSD. My second episode ever was the paramedic that saved my life in 1994. That
I
was
saw
great.
that.
How many people get to do that? And
Right?
it's all about impact, right? I don't care if this gets 10 views or 2,000 or 20,000. And
Yeah.
get on TikTok land, man. There's a big recovery circle of people on there. I had a guy on my show, Cliff. He hosts a program called Rise and Recover. And every second night they just meet up, everyone's in a box, and they just go through and just shoot the shit. And my goal is every person I've had here on recovery, once I get maybe 10, is to do like a big online Zoom meeting where people can just come and ask questions and
Mhm.
music. And because you're my second rapper I've had on that's had recovery, and I had a country singer that was recovery, and a boxer.
There's such a strength in community, especially like that. When you're in that, and you know this, you're talking about being on the balcony. Nobody understands. Would anybody care? Um, the answer to those two things is people do understand. Um, and of course people care. But when you're in that mindset, you don't think that. You don't know that. And that's what these communities too, and even NA groups, you walk in there and everybody has the same underlying experience. And you're looking around the room, there's a 70-year-old lady, there's an 18-year-old kid, there's a doctor, there's someone who's going between shelters, and we're all feeling the same way with the exact same patterns of behavior. And you're like, these people were just amongst us the whole time. I thought I was the only one. And with just bringing it back to the music, if someone's having a tough time with that, if and they throw it on, they go, holy shit, I'm not the only one that feels like that. Because I know I feel like the dumbest motherfucker in the world,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, how can I be behaving so stupidly when I'm not a stupid person? I'm the only person that must be this big of an idiot, and you're not. And when you're talking about being on the balcony too, I have a song coming out next week. And we talk about this, and it's actually with the artist Chide. He has some really great deep stuff. He fights himself in the song. He walks you through that process. He's a really empowering artist to listen to. And I reached out to him, and he was amazing. He reached out to me right away and said, "I really like your message. Yeah, let's do something together."
Sweet.
Um, but my verse in that, I talk about um, you know sitting in the car, and you know you're about to hit your pipe, and it's like everything's laced these days. So it's like, is it laced? Well, it seems in the moment when you're in that mindset, it doesn't really matter, because if it's laced, you're done. And what a relief, because you've escaped it.
Mm.
And if it's not laced, then you got high. And that's amazing, because that's what you're after. Um, and you, when that started happening to me near the end of my active addiction, it was like, these aren't normal thoughts that I have. I didn't have these as a kid. I didn't have these through high school. I care about life. I care about people. And for me to be completely indifferent, whether this hit kills me or I get high, is fucked up. Um, and so it kind of, someone's in the same boat, they flip on the song and they go, holy shit, now, okay, there is a way out. Now, you know, the way out's hard because the way out is in, right? You got to look in. Um, and that's an interesting one. I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay, man. That's what the show, all this. I had a guy on my show and he was an addict. He was 2 years clean. We had a great talk. I check in on him every day. And my girlfriend and him have become good friends because they were in the same area going through, like, they probably crossed paths or probably bought drugs off each other.
Yeah,
Then after Christmas, he just kind of disappeared. And the both of us were like, shit. Because once you're on my show, for me, it's not just the guests. Like, I keep in touch with everybody. And we're really worried about this dude. So I sent him a message and he ended up, he went back on the streets, back to the life. But then 2 days ago, he responded and now he's got like a day one post. Like he's back and
fuck yeah,
he's starting over. And I'm like, man, that takes balls. Like, you went on your TikTok. I'll send you his link after. I'd love for you guys
please.
to talk. But you know, it's brave. Like, okay, I fucked up. I'm starting over. Um, that's what I love about this show. Like my friend Tim was on here. Okay, this dude was 460 pounds. And
Yeah,
he had got down to like 380 and he was doing so good. And then he fell off the wagon and put it all back.
yeah,
But he didn't sit around and cry about it. Well, I'm sure he may have, but he went online. He's like, okay, I messed up. I'm starting over. And now he's 283.
yeah,
When he said he was starting over, I sent him a message. I'm like, listen, when you get under 300 pounds, we're going to do a show. There's your goal. And
yeah,
6 months later, here he was. So,
yeah. That's. I watched one of your episodes with the Redeemed,
yeah,
um, Jameson. He said that, um, you know, fuck am I look worrying about yesterday for, right? So you relapse, you go out, uh, you can let that send you into an absolute spiral, and then you're on the same trajectory as you were before you started, trying to clean up the first time. Or you go, okay, that was yesterday. What am I going to do about it today?
yeah,
And I got another buddy I've been talking to recently, um, and it was the same thing. He'd say, "Hey, there's been a slip up. Okay, fucking keep going. Start again. Start
yeah,
again. Start again. Fucking start again. Do it again. It's you only fail at this is a cliche as well, but it's so true. It's you only fail when you quit. So it's like get back on the horse. Um, and what I was saying earlier was you have to look kind of look into to get through this stuff. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be good because I'm gonna look in. I'm gonna find out that I was completely justified in the way I was feeling, and that'll justify all of my actions. And maybe there's one stone under there that you go, okay, well, that was justified, but fucking to turn over that one stone, you got to turn over 10 others where you got to accept how you've been a real piece of shit. And that's the hard part is really looking in and seeing the trail of destruction you've left behind you, um, and moving forward, like to the next day to be better and to do what you're supposed to do, and also try to mend as best you can the path of destruction you've left behind you. And that part's really hard to swallow because um, for me when I was in it, you come up with 100 excuses why this is that, why it's okay, how you're not hurting people, but the current of your actions, like the shit you're telling yourself on the top, this is the lie to yourself, so you don't have to lie to them thing. Doesn't matter. You're just hurting people.
hmm
And so when you're going through this, if you're not willing to realize that you've been a real fucking piece of shit, um, it doesn't matter why you've been that way. Uh, it's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be tough either way, but you you, you got to realize your contribution to the problem too.
beautiful. So we're gonna have a listen to one of your tunes here. Um,
Yeah.
whichever one we want to start with, we'll let it in here. But I think we decided on two.
Can I add one more thing?
Of course.
Um, I don't know if we're tight for time, but
No,
so
there's
when I
no
was
time.
okay, when I was coming out of it, um, me and my uh, ex-wife had split up. I had kind of put her through hell when everything had come out. I got a new partner, and she came with she had a 1-year-old boy, and I really related to your message, about the motivation that your daughter fueled you with to do the right thing. Because when he came into my life, um, it wasn't that okay. Uh, now I'm a father. I um, I can't do that anymore. That's not sustainable. What what changed was okay. Now I'm a father. I need to dig in and find out how this can be sustainable. Because if you just white knuckle without addressing why you are the way that you are, the way that you're feeling, it's not going to be sustainable. So when he came into my life, it wasn't, oh, I've got a son, so I can't go smoke crack all night now. It really inspired me to be better, to lose the metaphorical mental weight, or in your case, to lose the physical weight, um, so that I can be healthy and around and present. And then uh, 2 years later, we had our own daughter. So now we got a little boy and a little girl, and it's just it's fantastic.
That's the lifeline, man. That's when I look at her and I'll look back and we wrote a children's book together. I'll send you a copy of both. But it's just you got that memory, and the thing that I find the funniest is that the Facebook memories, the flashbacks. A lot of day I'll look through them and I'm just laughing because I don't remember any of that shit from times when I was like
No,
back out and like. So one of my military friends said to me, um, hardcore PTSD guy. He's like one of the first veterans to speak out about it. But he said when the past taps you on the shoulder, you don't have to turn around and look. And that's the wisest
that's very
shit.
interesting.
That's the wisest shit I've ever heard in my life, and it stuck with me. So now I only look back at those to see how far I've come. To usually, if it's someone in there and there's something really stupid, I'll send them a message and apologize. I'm like, shit, tell me about this night because I don't remember putting shoes on my knees and singing the lollipop grind, the karaoke, like the Wizard of Oz and shit. And I'm like, oh my god. But
Yeah,
only look back to see
no,
how far you've come. That's why I keep looking at that shit.
yeah, and it's hard to look back to, and I sometimes I'll have a feeling building up, and but I still write. I write every day, and very little of it makes it to song. But I'm using it. I use it as a tool every single day. So, um, but sometimes I'll have this feeling of something pulling on me, and I'll just write down the first couple thoughts that come to mind, and and then it sucks you into this wormhole where it takes you back into that moment, and those those songs are hard to write because you're present, and there's almost too much detail. It's weird because it's this weird combination of I don't remember any of it. Then if when you get into it, I remember it like it was this morning, and so I'll do that to free up some mental load. If there's something like that, I'll go, okay, well, let's just put this to bed. I've clearly been avoiding this for 4 years. Let's just do that. But then once it's done, and I keep moving forward. But um, you look back and you see those snippets, and you're like, wow, I've come a long way, you know. Um, and it's easy to forget how far you've come because you're not that much better than yesterday, but you're a bit better, and you're not that much better than the day before, but you're a bit better. But then if you go back 1,500 days, you go, holy fuck, I should be proud of myself. And it's been a long time. When you come out of addiction, you're not very often proud of yourself, but you should be.
Well, and you know what? You should be proud of yourself right now because I'm telling you, and I don't, hope you don't mind me saying this, but when we started the episode, your hoodie was up, and that's my comfort zone. And now
Yeah.
here we are, I don't know, 35 minutes into this, your hoodie's down, and we're just shooting the shit. And I told you just how it's gonna go. So I'm proud of you for that too.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't like, I've said it a couple times here and in some posts. I don't like talking about it, but fucking not talking about it got me there. So fuck it. And
That's what I
if
love.
if you don't agree with the shit, then don't listen to it. I'm here to say it, and I just hope it helps. So you were talking about a song here. What are we listening to?
Yeah, where's my list here? We're gonna play. Where did my songs go? There we go. Take Control. That's what we're gonna listen to first, and I'll play that, and then we can have a little chat about it. So this is Take Control by Dawzzy, and I hope you enjoy it.
Your addiction, your addiction. I'm on the edge and there's nowhere to escape. Mine is a weapon. Take control, watch me go, and I say.
The hardest thing I could do, probably just a gram or two. What would grandpa do watching me hammer through ounces? Damn it, dude. Time is standing still, it's crazy what the mind will do. Racing, basically it'll find her to create a storyline for you, saying that it's okay to do that line or two this time, because you're trying to be mindful while you do it. Like it's alright, cause it's the last time I'm going through this. It's back asswards like I'm using hindsight to look back into my future. Recovery rap, is that the only kind you do? All you talk about? Actually, yeah, for now, kinda do. Cause all I'm trying to do is keep my mind right. How far out your mind are you? I know what's wrong or right, like I ain't stupid, but the shit's got a grip. And every time I try and quit, I just won't admit the shit condition I am in. I don't wanna look in, so I'm justifying it. I'm lying from within, so I don't have to lie to them. I'm blaming what I do on all these different situations, like relationships I threw away and stresses I keep facing. I blame it on my crew, cause they don't wanna see me safe, and they just trying to bring me back. So I guess there's no escape, and won't acknowledge half the crap. Cause I would have to change, twist my arm until it snaps. Yeah, I'll just have a taste, rip the bottom off a can, grab a rock and let it bake. Fuck, man, something's gotta change.
Your addiction, your addiction. I'm on the edge and there's nowhere to escape. Mine is a weapon. Take control, watch me go, and I say.
When I was in it hard, there were artists I'd listen to. I'd just put them on. If I started to sit and still feel sicker if I couldn't move. Now I'm in the booth spitting and trying to help get somebody else through it too. I could talk about this topic all day, cause when other rappers talk about it, well, I can relate. Help me not pop off, help me go on another day. Like I'm not the only case, I'm not as strange as I thought. Okay, got thinking optimistically. Could I get out initially? Nah, but with the wish there's a way. If he could do it, how could I think I'm not capable of same? If you're tired of hearing about it, then the song just ain't for you. That's okay too. Here's a haiku. You don't have to strain not to use it. Get through one day clean like I do. See, my mind is a weapon. It's just a matter of direction. Which way is it headed? Is it good or negative obsession? I focus like it's HD. Unfortunately, like Joyner and Webby, I got 80 of them, so I'm like 20 more times likely to develop an addiction disorders without the diagnosis. Why did no one ever let me know this, huh? Why'd I never notice it when I was switching in and out of hyperfocus, fighting psychosis? Half a day goes by or more if I get zoning, but I still can't find my phone in wallet. And sometime this morning left the front door wide open, never closed my drawers, and only half my laundry's folded. I've been clean for like 3 years or more, and still I'm fighting for control back. No, this ain't a throwback, it's straight from the moment. You're not alone, just know that.
It's the addiction, yeah, the addiction. I'm on the edge and there's nowhere to escape. My mind is a weapon. Take control, watch me go, and I say, I'm breaking free. Come with me, I'm breaking free.
Control is just sort of well, it's not just it's walking through the inner dialogue, um, and there's a section at the end of the first verse that we talked about earlier, about lying from within, so I don't have to lie to them. And I mentioned it too, but in the moment when you're using and you're high, or at least for me, I would justify everything as I don't want to hurt anybody, so I'm not gonna um I'm not gonna tell them about this because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt their lifestyle. I don't want to upset them. And that was just a massive lie that I was telling myself so that I didn't have to face the fear and the consequences that would come from telling somebody about it. And you know, if you did something shady or you did somebody a disservice, like, well, I don't, you know, I'm not going to tell them that because I don't want to hurt them. And there's just these compounding lies that you then start to believe, and then you start to build your justification of everything that you've done based on these lies that you told yourself to make it easier for yourself in the moment. Um, and you know, well, I would love to quit, but all my buddies keep coming by, and you know, or my plug keeps telling me that he can drop off, you know, a bunch of stuff tonight, so they don't really want to see me out of it. And you know, it's their fault. It's their fault. They keep hitting me up. Well, fuck yeah, they're businessmen. Of course they're going to. It's not, it has nothing to do with them. It's completely my fault. And those lies are something that I was faced with, that I thought were kind of the hardest things of everything to break, because that's an internal dialogue that you tell yourself, and nobody can fix that for you but you, unless you land on it. But putting that into the song, is for somebody who is in the same spot, who hears it and goes, "Oh shit, am I doing that?" And then they start, you know, start thinking about it, and maybe it can spark that change in them too, that they maybe wouldn't otherwise have landed on.
I love it, man. You know, one of the hardest things for me to hear was a friend of mine I met in 2007. So from 2007 to 2012, that was my worst drinking years. And we wrote about it a year ago. He came out for a play, some theater thing he got tickets for, and he said to me, "You know, Dave, you were a real freaking asshole back then." And I'm like, "What?" Like this guy used to laugh at all my shit, and we'd be doing shots together. He's like, "Yeah, there was a time for like 3 years I could not stand to be around you, even though we hung out 3 nights a week at the pub." And that was a big wake up call for me. And yeah, you never know who or what you're affecting. You just think everything is right. It's so powerful.
You don't see it. You got your blinders on, and you're just hurting people, and at the center of it you're hurting yourself, and it's fucking hard
So
for
let's chat
everybody.
about the childhood dream, and then we'll play that. And then I got my last stupid question here for you. So,
Yeah.
childhood dream, where'd that come from?
um uh, that song was, and we kind of touched about it already when we, you know, the first song that came out, but that it starts with, you know, at first it was just frustration to me. It didn't hurt yet. Um and that sort of alludes to the escape. You know, you're frustrated, you don't know why you're different, which I've since I've figured out a lot of stuff about myself, and I know where that frustration came from. I know where that difference came from. um but it started out just like that, and then it just escalates so quickly. And um it's just sort of the irony of having a childhood dream and then landing so fucking far away from it, and then coming back from that. The songs after that are more kind of coming back from that, but that song is just what it feels like to, you know, you go, while you're in active addiction, you go into the bathroom, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you see your face, your nose, your eyes, but you're just looking through, you're a shell of a man, you're a shell of a person. And it's like, how the fuck did I get here? And it's just a gut wrenching feeling. And you know why you're there, but you don't want to face it yet. And then that added uh that added stress, or that added guilt. Well, how do you deal with that? How have you been dealing with it? You know, you turn to drugs, and it's just this compounding cycle. So you get a glimpse of yourself, not what you like. You don't have the tools to deal with it. The only tool you have is a pipe, and you go back into it, and it just keeps going and going until you die, or something good happens and you can affect some change. And then so you get out of it, and then hopefully you can affect some change in other people, make a positive difference for their lives.
You fuck. Now you got me choked, man. That was freaking that was deep. Um, so this is childhood dream. Anyone you like what you hear on here, if you're going through anything, go check out those links down there. Dawzzy, Spotify. Just have a listen to, go for a walk, put on a few of these songs, and you're gonna realize that holy shit, I'm not the only one out there that feels like this. And I think this is gonna hit a lot of people, man. So this is Childhood Dream. We'll be right back here.
At first it was just frustration of me. It didn't hurt you, but my mind, it would race as I'd think. Drug traces I'd seek so I could fake some relief. If I could find another hit that I could take from my peace, I'd replace this feeling of angst with some peace. Certainly for 6 minutes, man, I'd be free. So I'd sit in my truck and sometimes it would be 3 hours of me just scraping the seat. I'd pray for luck to find crack or crack-related debris. Sift through the dirt and the mats, just hoping maybe I'd see signs of any leftover white flakes I could breathe, chunks, nugs, or residue I could make work for me. Cause I'm wired in a panic, dire, frantic state of mind. So I chop up the carpet, look for any pieces that I might have gotten lost in between the console and the seat. I know I'm smart and I should stop, but you gotta hear it from me. There's no stopping a man who's turned himself to a fiend when it's so clearly gotten to the point that you cannot reason with him. It makes no difference whether his age, gender, or creed. Could have a great family or an engineering degree, but it don't matter cause see in the moment what he believes is this is all that he needs. It's got his claws sucking deep, chopping him at the knees. There's no clause for release, he's in it hard and too deep. But if you stop, pause and just think, you realize it can't be. Despite how it seems, someone would choose this style of life willingly. I wanna be someone, somebody you're proud of. I wanna be someone, somebody you count on. I got my own reasons, the whys and the how comes. It's nobody else's fault, it's me versus myself, huh? I wanna be someone healthy and wealthy. I wanna be someone who doesn't need help, but I wanna be somebody you don't doubt, but that dream has never come true. It's never the outcome. They throw pride to the breeze and toss aside their ambition. Life driving a steam. So as you go by and see a child playing outside on the slide or the swing, sitting there with their friends and describing their dreams, what you'll hear them say is what I wanna be is a movie star or athlete, fireman or police, but not him. Cause what you actually think is he said to himself, a full life would be great, but it ain't my cup of tea. Cause what I wanna be is an addict so that I can be seen as a failure in his week, while I'm mad at be defeated before I'm 18. And then if I over exceed, won't be alone on the streets, at least not before I'm 30. Or if I'm lucky in a home with some food I can eat, in a bathroom of my own I can use to go peeing. But I won't use the mirror, cause the man I would see looking through would be clear and clearly no longer look like what I used to be. I would describe him as fearful, half a person or less. Tears stream from his cheeks all the way down to his chest, knowing what he's doing here's not nearly his best. I wanna be someone, somebody you're proud of. I wanna be someone, somebody you count on. I got my own reasons, the whys and the how comes. It's nobody else's fault, it's me versus myself, huh? I wanna be someone healthy and wealthy. I wanna be someone who doesn't need help, but I wanna be somebody you don't doubt, but that dream has never come true. It's never the outcome. Inside he's disgraced and so full of hate. He's a shell of himself and it gets worse every day. He's got no words left to say. His world morphs into gray. It can't be overstated. He wants to feel welcome but knows he overstated. Even though there's people near him, he's so isolated. His feelings of dread would make him want to escape and go away and just scream. And I know that's the case cause the man he'd been seeing, the one in the mirror seemingly manic and tweaking, that man it was me. And I remember that feeling like it was never healing, nor it was this morning, because in that moment I would know that I made it in all of its glory. It's a horrible state in which no one should live, but whether he knows that he did, he was destroyed by a tube and overthinking. But according to you, what I was thinking and being while standing over the sink could actually be what as a kid I had envisioned for me. Like this isn't disease, it's how addicts want it to be. So next time we meet, ask me how it's feeling now to finally be living out my childhood dream. It's my childhood dream, it's my childhood dream. It's my dream, it's your dream, it's their dream. Everybody fucking knows that we all on the same team. They dream, a dream team. Let's be wipeouts. The dream team of wipeouts. Yeah.
Freaking awesome tune, man. I've only listened to 5 or 6 of your songs, but I plan to listen to every single one of them. You've got a project coming up. You're going to do some stuff with Little White Lie, who we had on our show, this other project. So yeah, fire me all your links. I'll put everything in the description wherever you want me to send people, my tens of listeners.
all you need is one that you can make a difference for, though, man. That's what it's about.
That's what it's all about, and why I
I,
keep
I was
going.
just, I've said this already in here is I'm uncomfortable talking about this. I'm uncomfortable with the exposure, but the nature of what I want to get out of my music is to reach people and help people. And so it's just this kind of ironic twist where you need exposure to reach people, but the last thing that I want is to have exposure talking about this. So what I've decided is that fuck what uh it's my comfort zone. The exposure to reach people is the most important. And yeah, and I appreciate you taking some time with me today too to talk about this because it's we just want to help people out.
That's what it's all about, man, and why I keep going. My very first episode I put up, I had a guy message me because I'm from Newfoundland. Sometimes my accent comes out. I had a lady on with me from Newfoundland. I got to put captions on an episode because I snap right back into my Newfie accent, but I don't care. This guy said to me, "Man, I'd rather." Well, this is the voice I imagine him typing. I'd rather sit in a dental office and listen to the sounds of people getting their face drilled out than listen to your Newfie accent. You got to work on that and your pronunciation. And I'm like, yeah, pound sand, man. But my
Yeah,
daughter says,
that's
"Don't feed the trolls, Dad. Keep those trolls hungry." And that's
I've got some troll comments too, and a lot of mental internal dialogue is insecurity, and what do people think? What do people think? And this has been hard. I'm still working on this now. Is it really doesn't matter. What matters is we're doing what we know is right. And so I get some troll comments, and I just say I appreciate you because I'm not feeling it in, and I'm not trying to fuel a fight, but it's it, this is one of the biggest leaps that I've made is that I'm getting close to genuinely, and almost every day it is genuinely do not care what people think about it. So the trolls come in and it's okay. Well, that's too bad you don't like it. That guy does, and most importantly, I do.
yep. And you know what? Now you got my daughter is my noise canceling headphones to the trolls.
Mhm.
Because when we work out and when we race, there was one day I raced. Um, she was with three friends after school, and we were walking to the store together.
She's
And she's
probably
like,
whooping your ass by now, eh?
"Well, she does Muay Thai, man. I wouldn't want to take one of her kicks." And her muscles, like her arms, are it's she kind of scares me, so I don't want to upset her anymore. But I beat her and three of her friends, and it was only 2 blocks in my little town, but. And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, you should have let them win." I'm like, "No, they gotta earn that shit now." There's my daughter could probably kick my ass. I've been boxing for 6 years, but man, it makes me
Yeah,
so happy as a dad that know that she can defend herself with all this shit going on. But
yeah, and the sense of accomplishment on the day that she beats you legitimately won't be there if you let her win before.
exactly, we'll put on like NHL 26 or whatever, and I'm up like 8-1. She's like, "Take it easy." I'm like, "No, there's no
And you enjoy
participation
this
down
because
here."
your days are numbered. She's coming for you quick.
Yeah. All right, man. My final question. A 100-meter pigeon carrying contest. How many pigeons could you fit in your arms and have left in your arms at the end of the 100-meter race?
Ah, well, I've always been a pleaser, and a lot of the time, the effort you put into pleasing someone or something isn't appreciated. So, you know, I'll put my arms out, let all the pigeons from the whole block come and sit on me. And whoever wants to ride, I'm happy to take them there. So I'm guessing it would probably be about no pigeons, but I'm not gonna get too worried about it because if they don't want my help, then I'm not gonna waste my energy helping them. So I hope I could take 10 pigeons down there, but it'll probably be none.
That'll tie you with Leslie Horton from Global News Calgary, who said zero because she has a fear of pigeons and a fear of Canada geese, and she wouldn't touch the question. But that was probably the deepest answer I've had to that question yet.
Ah, that's me. I overthink things, man.
It's beautiful. But yeah, so anyone watching, go check out all the links in the description. Um, give Dawzzy a follow wherever you are. I'm gonna convince them to join TikTok and come into my lives I do on there. Get those fired up again. But if you're out there
Thank
watching
you.
and you're going through anything, you're not alone. And just reach out to someone, anyone. And
Including myself. I put a post out. If you're battling, I'm fucking happy to talk about it. I don't know you. That's okay. Reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about it. That's what it's about. So, and Dave, thank you very much for having me on the show too.
you're awesome, man. And your music, uh, if this goes on one person's playlist after the show, that's it. We're good. That's success. So anyone watching out there, my New Year's resolution, which I managed to hold every single day, go find someone that's posted a video, a music video, someone struggling, someone posting, just say something nice to one person every day on whatever platform. And yeah, it'll change lives.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next episode when I have a Australian heavy metal band coming on with us. So stick tuned for that, and we'll go from there.